All right, well, we're going to get started. Welcome to RU 703. Good to have you all here tonight. We're going to do things a little bit different tonight. I'm just going to do first talk. I'm going to take a short break, a minute or two, a couple minutes. Then you get a drink, something like that. And then I'm going to do third talk because I'm not sure how long that's going to take. So when we're done with that, then we can do second talk. So if that, I'm going to, because I just don't know how long it's going to take. So we'll see. Depends on what I do with what I have. That sounded really good. You like that? And the other thing is, second talk, we're good to go. Just, the reason we're not having childcare, we just have things and stuff. So we're just going to do that. Trunk or treat. Last I heard, trunk or treat still is on Saturday, 4:30 to 6. So if you're going to do a trunk, come down. 3:45. Well, no, it's 3:45 is when you're supposed to be here, but it starts at 4. Yeah. We didn't know we're not doing the jump houses, so just all we're doing is the trunks, and so it's good. I mean, the purpose is outreach, and it's just gonna be good. It'll be good. And from what I hear, because of the hurricane that's going up there, it's gonna make our weather incredibly good because it's pushing a cold front a little bit down here, and drier air and all that. So it should just be a marvelous afternoon. Just sounds really good. So I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, RU 703, we're here to help each other to find, maintain, and grow our walk with the Lord. And literally everything is about our relationship with the Lord, our walk with the Lord. I was talking to a couple of students today, and we're talking about, what are they, Christian buzzwords, I guess. Especially if you've grown up in the ministry, you've been around the ministry a long time, we say things over and over and over, and pretty soon they lose their meaning, which is unfortunate. And they're important words. Walk with the Lord, relationship with God, fear of the Lord. Just the things that you hear over and over and over. And you're like, yeah. But they're very important, but they lose their meaning because we hear them so often. So that's something I have to work on, is getting past those things and realizing what I'm really saying is, for myself, I need to do some things. Instead of saying, I have a walk with the Lord or the will of God. Those are all right words and true words. But what we try to do in RU, one of the things is to break those down and say, yes, those words, but this is how you do it. This step. This is how you have a walk with the Lord. This is what it looks like when you have the proper fear of the Lord. Because if we're not careful, we'll just say those things, agree with them, and go on without really understanding and doing all the things that are there. All right, so we're going to start with our 10 principles, and I'm just going to go into them. We'll do them. Number 1, if God's against it, so am I. Number 2, every sin has its origin in our heart. Number 3, it's easier to keep the heart clean than to clean it after it's been defiled. Number 4, we cannot fight a fleshly appetite by indulging in it. Number 5, small compromises lead to great disasters. Number 6, those who do not love the Lord will not help you serve the Lord. Number 7, our sinful habits do hurt those who follow us. Number 8, it's not possible to fight a fleshly temptation with a fleshly weapon. Number 9, we lose our freedom to choose when we give in to temptation. Our consequences are inevitable, incalculable, and up to God. And number 10, God balances guilt with blame. Accept the blame for your actions, and God will remove the guilt. I got nothing there. So, Psalms 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. I got nothing there. So I got a lot of things, but I just want to do some stuff tonight, and when we get done, we'll get done. So just remind me after I get done with third talk, during second talk, I'd like to do some blessings and stuff like that. We turn the thing off and all that. So what I have tonight for you is a meditation. Is Proverbs 8:34. Proverbs 8:34 says, "Blessed is the man that heareth me, and watcheth daily at my gates, waiting at the post of my doors." And this is wisdom speaking right here. Blessed is the man that heareth me, wisdom. Watcheth daily at my gates, wisdom. Waiting at the posts of my doors, wisdom. When life gets hard, and when we're not sure where to go, what to do, how to do it, or even if we can do what is next, well, we need to slow down and hear and watch and wait. Blessed is the man that heareth, watching daily, waiting at the posts of my doors. We need to just do those things right there. One of the things we need to stop doing a lot of times is stop doing. We got to stop doing all the things, trying to fix this, trying to do this. I want to please God, I'm going to do this. We need to just stop for a minute, stop doing. We need to stop thinking about it, trying to fix things in our mind, all these things. We need to stop trying to figure things out sometimes. We need to be quiet. That's the problem. We need to be quiet and listen to God. Hear. We need to hear what God is saying. I know in my own life, I get so wrapped up in all the stuff that I don't hear God. I don't stop long enough to hear what he has to say. I'm too busy trying to do all the things that I think, or trying to fix things or whatever. And there needs to be a time we need to do it regularly, to stop, be quiet, listen to God. We get so wrapped up with telling God our problems. I don't know if you've ever been there before. We get really wrapped up in telling God our problems that we don't stop long enough to listen to what he has to say. You understand, it doesn't do a lot of good for us to tell God what our problems are. He knows. It's like, God, you don't understand. Well, wait a minute, he does. He does know. He does know what our problems are. And I'm not saying not to talk about our problems, but if we're going to God as, God, you don't understand, this is going on and this is going on. He's like, Alan, I know that stuff is going on. Just be quiet a minute. Let me help you get through this stuff. I'm so busy telling him all the things that are going on, I'm not listening to what he's saying. If we'll just be quiet and just listen to him, we will hear him. But you have to work at it. He's talking to us. We just don't listen. I was thinking about this, Job, in the Bible, Job. It's a great example. Job spent a long time telling God what was going on. Saying, are you looking at me? My friends are going away. This is going away. They're telling me I'm doing this. I'm not doing this. What, and he's just telling God and telling God and telling God all this stuff. He's defending himself. He's justifying himself. Not in a bad way, but that is what he's doing. And when he stopped running everything in his mind, to the end of the book almost, when he stopped doing all that stuff, he began to hear God. It took him that long to begin to listen to what God was trying to say the whole time. God was just waiting for Job to run down, to be quiet and to listen. Because the important part of that book is the last 3 chapters, when Job just kind of quit talking and listened to what God had to say. He agreed with him, and then things were good. And it took him a long time. Now, there's a lot of other stuff in the book of Job. I'm not saying it's not. It's very important lessons and all this stuff. But that's the biggest lesson I get out of that, is I just need to be quiet. I spent a whole time of my life doing this. And then when I finally just learned to be quiet and listen, God said, okay, now we can start working on fixing some of this stuff that you've been complaining at me for years. Oh, that works pretty good. So anyway, the sooner we stop talking and start listening, the sooner we will hear God. But we need to be quiet. We need to watch. You understand, God is not the great wind. God can cause great winds, absolutely. God's not in the earthquake, and he can absolutely cause earthquake, have it open up, swallow all these people. No big deal for God. God's not in the fire. And those are there. They're from God, but I don't think they are God. Those are there to get our attention. It's like, hey, you need to listen to something here. Look at me. Do I have your attention yet? Those are saying, stop and hear me. When we listen, when we watch and pay attention, that's what listening is. We have to watch and pay attention. We will hear and see God answering us. He speaks in that still small voice, and he works in small details. He really does. But we have to be watching, because it's a still thing. It's a small thing. We have to be alert. We're too often like the disciples who fell asleep during the greatest crisis of their life. And they fell asleep. Now, I read that and I'm like, oh, how in the world can they fall asleep? And then I look at myself. I do the same thing. I mean, we do. Because you know why? It wasn't that important to them at the moment. And we look back, it's like, oh, didn't they know? No. They should have known, but they weren't listening before then. They didn't hear what God was saying. And God wasn't upset with them. It's just a lesson for us. We have to be quiet and listen. We must watch to see what's really going on. We must wait on God. We want so much to, like get her done that we don't want to listen to the instructions. And we don't want, or we don't see what God wants us to do because we're so full of ourselves. We need to just wait. And again, waiting is not sitting down in your easy chair saying, all right, take care of it, God. It's serving him. It's doing the little things that we know we're supposed to be doing to find out what it is that he wants to tell us about. Too often we get in front of God. Have you ever gotten in front of God? You're like, God, you're not doing this fast enough, so I'll just take care of it for you. Examples all the time in the Bible. Saul was a great one. I've got to make this sacrifice. God's not going to do it on time. So I'm going to step in where it's not my place and do what's not my job. And as soon as he started, Samuel showed up and said, hey, dude, what are you doing? That's not your place, but you weren't here. He got in front of God. We take the lead because he's not going fast enough. We have to let him lead. God actually does know what he's doing. We have to believe that and act that way. We must listen, we must watch, we must wait, but equally important to these is doing things in the right place. We must keep ourselves at the posts of his doors. That's where we're supposed to wait. That's where we're supposed to stand. We need to be in the right place also. I mean, I think back here to Psalms 1 there. Walketh not, standeth not, sitteth not. Those are places we should not be. There's the other side is there's places we should be. And we need to keep ourselves there. We have to keep ourselves in his word. That's a place we're supposed to be. We must keep ourselves out of the world. There's just activities and things and stuff out there, and I'm not thinking of anything in particular. I know that there's things in my life. There's just things that it's best for me not to be involved in. Not to watch, not to be at, not to be there. I'm not saying in themselves they're wicked, but if I'm there, my attention is just not on God. I know that. And there's certain things that I shouldn't be involved in. We have to keep out of the world. We have to wait in the place where we can hear him. If we're in a place that's loud and self-focused and all this, that's not the place we're going to hear God. I can go into a bar and drink soda. I can. But I don't know that God is going to speak to me while I'm sitting there at the bar drinking my soda. I'm not that he can't. But I'm just thinking there's better places to listen to him than that, if that makes sense to y'all. And it's really hard to hear God. I didn't even know I said that. In a bar with loud music and all the temptations of the devil being thrown at. And it's an us thing. It's not a him thing. He's like, I'm going to speak to you the way I speak. And if you're in a place where it's too loud to hear my voice, that's not my problem. I am talking to you, and you're not in a place where you can listen. It's much easier to hear his quiet voice and see his small movements when we're in a quiet place focused on him with his words in front of us. It says Jesus all the time, many times, went to a quiet place by himself to pray. He went away from the crowd to pray. He got in a place where it could be quiet and he could just spend time with him and God without all the distractions. And there were a lot of distractions. And there's nothing wrong with those. When the people came, he looked at them with compassion and he did things. But he always found a way to get in that quiet place, to listen, to learn, so that he'd be ready to do. And it's not complicated to walk with him. We just have to do that big word there, that we have to learn to humble ourselves and to follow his instructions and do it his way. Truly, it is truly his way, the high path, the path of blessing, the path of safety and security. Proverbs 8:35 and 36, for whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. Or, the highway, that's God's way. Or it's the highway, the highway to destruction, the fast track to despair, man's way. Proverbs 8:36, he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul, and all they that hate me loveth death. The end thereof is the ways of death. We can do it either one of those. That's Proverbs 8:35, whoso findeth me findeth life, shall obtain favor of the Lord. That's what he wants. Or it's the other one. He that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul, and all they that hate me love death. So we got to make it the choices. We've got to choose every day. What are we going to do? And it is our choice. That is always our choice. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? Now, I understand there's work, there's all these things, but we do have choices on these things. We can go to a place where we can hear him. We can go to a place and we can spend time with him. Or we can do the stuff that we want to do. And we really need to, it's helped me a lot. I've got to do that because of the things that I want to happen in my life. If I want those things to happen, and I do, here's what I have to do. If I really want those things to happen, here's what I have to do. And I've got to make those choices. Okay, I can't do that, can't do that, and can't do that. Not that it's unlawful for me to do it. But if I want those things to happen, this is what I must do. Therefore, I must do these things because I want that to happen. Now, I don't know if you all think about your end goal. Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be when you grow up? One of the things I've said to a fair number of students lately is, you're 14. In 4 more years, do you want to still be here doing that? Do you? Today, it's okay, but today's not all we got. In 4 more years, you're 18. Now, where do you want to be when you're 18? Going off on your own, doing your own. What do you want to be like? If you don't do something now to get to where you want to be, you won't be where you want to be when you get there. That's hard for us to think about. I wish it hadn't taken me this long to learn to think that way. Maybe I'd be somewhere else by now. But it is what it is, and I'm working on it. So just a thought. We've got to take control of this sometime. That is what God wants us to do. He'll do for us and help us. But we've got to do something with what he gives us. All right? So cut that off for just a minute, Mr. Quinn. Give us about a couple